Alright, hello everyone, Arkin here. We are back to another stream and I'm going to be practicing some more 80% unrestricted as preparation for the event coming up this weekend. I'm going to be running Metroid Dread 80% single file at the Pixels for People Gaming Marathon. It is going to be on October 5th again, and it will be at 1 p.m. Western European time, roughly 8 a.m. Eastern time for American peoples. That would also be 2 p.m. Central European time for anyone watching at +1 for me. I will probably make a community post on YouTube as well to mark the date. I'm not sure if I can do any sort of similar thing on Twitch. Maybe I'll have to see if there's something like that. Or maybe I can just add it to the about panel or something. But at the very least, I'll probably put in the title. Anyway, tomorrow I should probably set up everything for the event. But anyway, I'm gonna do this run while explaining the tricks. So the last few practice runs, it was just like pretty much a D-rust. For this one, I'm gonna do a little bit of commentary, which is gonna be probably similar to what I'd be doing in the game Marathon. It will be different in the actual thing because they also read donations and there might be questions and stuff. So I'll probably just have to, adapt to the circumstances. It's not like I'm gonna be reading from a script or anything. There's like a few tricks that I want to explain, and I do want to make the explanation very short, very simple, because ain't no time to write a full tutorial live, am I right? That is totally not the point of the showcase run. Anyway, I'm gonna be running 80% unrestricted single file. Of course, there is a world where multi-file exists. In multi-file, we use a secondary file that's possibly completed to set up a glitch and bring it over to the run file. Whereas in single file, which is what I'm gonna run, it is a self-contained run. We only play in one file from start to finish. We don't get glitches from anywhere else. We just play the game until we're able to replicate the glitch, because it requires certain abilities. So once we get those abilities, we get the glitch in the same file and we're not going to be able to abuse it in the early game. So let's get it started. So because we don't have any tricks for the first minute of the run, I'm gonna do a very quick movement primer. Samus moves fast on the ground and slow in midair. Like other platformer games, you have a variable jump. Jump height, the longer you press B, the higher you go. So movement in this game, optimal movement is basically pressing B just enough that you go from floor to platform without wasting much movement. You'll also see me doing dash melees and slides off of ledges. In some cases, it is faster than just dropping off the platform. And in places where the ledges are too high, you'll see me doing quick climbs, which is like jumping as soon as you grab the ledge. So that is basic movement in this game. And with that, you should be able to understand most of the movement that happens, just really optimizing the air time, or optimizing the ground time rather, minimizing the air time, going from ledge to platform. The movement in this game is very rich, it's very fun. So, first trick of the run, we are going... Oh man, I should have tried to explain this earlier. We're going to clip shots through the wall. Oh my goodness. I forgot to do my button rebind, so I'm gonna have to do this without the rebind, which I'm not super used to. Damn, I should have set up the rebind. It's okay, I can do the run without the rebind. Just a few places I'm gonna feel a bit weird with, but it's okay. Anyway, to explain that pseudo wave tech, in this game in all Metroid games, there is a wave beam, which is a beam that allows you to shoot stuff through the walls. We don't have that, that's literal endgame stuff. So, in the early game, we can actually... There are like tens of different setups to clip shots through the wall. That was just one of them. We used it for those two blobs to have to gain access to a different part of Artaria early on, and we use the slide. If you jump out of a slide, Samus has a reduced collision box, and so we kind of abuse that, we exploit that to clip shots to the ceiling. So we've been able to do that boss fight against Corpus. Normally that's like the last thing you do in Artaria, and with this routing, it's basically the first thing you do in the route. It's really cool.
Uploading data.
Yeah, what's up, Prince? Good luck walking and talking. Thank you, man. It's tough. It's not like I don't usually talk while running, like with chat, but like commentary and running is tough. And I've already like messed up a little bit, but this is good. It's just like practicing it's just like practicing for an actual like world record grind and stuff. You better leave the mistakes in practice and do better in the actual runs coming up, right? So there's not much to say in this area. You're not gonna see the Amy because the route that we've done so far with those sequence breaks and pseudo wave shots and exploiting the blobs, we actually have skipped this portion of Artaria where we would have an encounter with the Amy. So the Amy actually hasn't spawned yet. So we basically got a free pass going into the Amy zones right now. And that's why you didn't see the Amy there. Very chill. So next trick is called the water slope skip. It is pretty easy to do with Phantom Cloak, even though I didn't get it first try. We use the fact that if you land on the slope with free aim active, you can jump immediately. And that trick is a bit tough to explain, but it gets easier with Phantom Cloak because it reduces your speed. So like reduce speed while going to the left. And yeah, this is water platform skip. It's done. It's a very funny skip where we use the slope and the ceiling to gain some extra height and kind of roll over to the ledge. It's really hard to explain these tricks because they just happen so fast. And it's not just fast, it's just on short notice. I have two pseudo wave shots, one after the other, and then I have two water tricks, one after the other. This isn't easy. Oh. One little thing I haven't explained yet is the concept of quick charges. Normally there's a certain time that it takes to charge up a charge beam, but if you let loose a beam like halfway through the charge while you're spin jumping, it actually like do a quick charge where the beam comes out charged earlier than it should be. And you're gonna see me do that a few times throughout the run. Usually in boss fights, but I think in this category we only do that in one boss fight, whereas in NMG we do it in a lot of fights, or a lot more at least. I almost got the Giga. I even got the climb there. Alright, not many tricks coming up for the time being. But I guess I can talk about the next trick, which is called Maga Skip. We're gonna do that in about a minute. Because we didn't activate the white Amy earlier, as the route we took gave us the detour, we didn't activate the Amy. To actually fight the Amy later on, we're gonna need to actually go for that cutscene. But normally it shouldn't be possible, because entering in reverse like casually shouldn't be possible, but there are tricks for that. So Maga Skip is a movement trick similar to that water platform skip that you saw earlier and I barely got to explain, where we have to do a very specific wall jump into air melee, into bouncing off the slope, and then we'll grab a ledge and we'll gain access to that area where we are gonna get to spawn the white Amy. So that is Maga Skip. It's more precise than it looks. So now we've spawned the white Amy and we can go straight to the central unit arena. And once we finish that fight, the Amy will be here. If we didn't do that Maga Skip and that cutscene, the Amy would not spawn and would be soft locked forever. So that is done and we'll be fine. Alright, I actually forgot to enable my rebinds. I usually do some double mashing, so I'm gonna be just single mashing for the rest of the run, and that's fine. It's also easier on my hands, to be honest. Alright, white enemy coming. I'm gonna try to do the plant kill, but without my rebinds and mashing, slim chance that I'm gonna be able to do it. Oh, maybe I can. Oh, I did it. Nice. I wish I can do that in the showcase run. And I will probably have the rebinds enabled. And mashing. Mashing makes this a little easier. To fire the Omega Cannon, you just hold down the Y button and it automatically fires at a certain speed. But if you can do mashing over like 15 Hertz, it actually results in firing the Omega stream faster than just the continuous shot. So we can actually use that to make the enemy fights a little easier, but mashing that fast can be pretty exhausting and not to mention difficult. Whoa. So if this were 100%, we might be grabbing all the missile tanks and everything, but in any percent, there are only so many expansion packs that we actually need to get. The ones I got so far, I only got because they were kind of in the way and there was no viable way to avoid them. I grabbed the energy tank earlier because, oh no, I should be talking about the deboost, but this deboost is really hard to explain. We're just, oh no. Oof. Well, I messed it up. But I still backed it up, so that's not a problem. And I am forgetting some of my splits. Well, it's not really... There's not much to say about the deboost. I think it saves something like, what, somewhere between 5 to 10 seconds. The alternative would be taking this magnet that rolls through the ceiling. So we just do some clever manips of the enemies there and get up the platform. Unfortunately, I didn't get it first try. I think it still saves a bit of time with that backup, but it's not much. Anyway, onwards. Let's go onward. So, Kater is second area in the game. Lots of hot rooms. Whoa. Alright, so we are going to talk to Adam again. This is the fourth and final time we talk to Adam in this route. There is a new route at the moment that skips Adam earlier. But I'm not all that consistent at the new stuff yet for runs, especially not a live run where RNG can be a problem. RNG already is a problem in unrestricted any percent. I don't want to add any more for the time being. So yeah, that was the last time we spoke to Adam. We're gonna talk to... we're gonna do a trick later called Adam Skip in categories where because we do a different route that skips an Adam room, any future Adam rooms that we go through are not gonna lock down and force us to talk to Adam. This is another little deboost called Super Boost. It's a very nice little shortcut. Now we're gonna go into one of the possibly scariest parts of the early game. It should be fine. It's called the Hell Run. In other Metroid games, heat damage rises slowly. In this game, it rises like exponentially. We have very little time to get through this room, but we're through, so that's cool. It's hot. Okay. Another pseudo wave trick. This one is called Seam Pseudo. We're going to fire some missiles through the seams here between two different types of collision. This has been a very difficult trick to find for glitch hunters, but it exists, it is real. We can actually use it in a run now to access this part of categories. We are skipping several button presses, and yeah, this is Adam Skip. Adam Skip is a movement trick that lets us, well, skip Adam and a big portion of categories. Alright, third try is not too bad. Alright, so now is going to be the first time that unrestricted really comes to life. So far, the glitches we've done have been minor, not much. Like, the glitches we've done so far have been like pretty tame, but now we're gonna do something called the Any UR. We're going to acquire Morph Ball before Wide Beam. Like, normally, you would never be able to acquire Morph Ball before Wide Beam because there's no way to get into the arena. So we're gonna use a series of exploits to teleport or warp alongside the enemy into the arena. How does this work? We're gonna do a little setup here, and we're gonna warp to the enemy, along with the enemy, to one of 3 possible spawns. This is random. Wish me luck. Alright, that's not first try. We got one of the wrong spawns. So the spawns that we can get are tied to the door that I'm using to do this little setup. I'm going to show again. So this little free aim trick here, touching the door, that will cause the enemy to respawn on the next room transition. And as the enemy responds, it's going to be into one of 3 places. Only one of those places is the one that matters. Still didn't get it. I'm not going to try to take the parry because it can crash the game. So we're just going to let the enemy kill us, sadly. But yeah, so second try didn't do it. Let's hope it doesn't take too many tries because I can do the setup consistently. It's just the spawn part that is RNG. The setups are pretty simple to do. But yeah, we're gonna need the game to cooperate on this one. Okay, still not third try. That's very unlucky. Well, it's fairly unlucky. I've made my time estimate to accommodate for something extreme like 10 tries. Well, to be honest, more than 10 tries would be acceptable. But we still have another point of RNG in the run called RBX, which is the final boss fight. Alright, so I hope we don't get too unlucky. Oh no. 5th try, that is not good. Not good. Alright, Amy, please give the correct spawn. Please just do it. I want to showcase the rest of the run. Okay, there we go. Alright, that's like 6th try. It's not nice, but it's well within the estimate, so that is acceptable. So, there is... Normally, if you take an enemy parry, you shouldn't be able to pause the game. But due to the exploits we're doing there with that setup, we actually can, and we can use the pause menu to... We can use the pause to buffer the parry and make it basically like 100% like free. So we are past the Emmy Warp. That is actually a huge relief. It is one of the 2 points of RNG in the run. And we're through. If you ever check out my world record run, or current world record run, you'll see that I got it first try. That's because I spent large amounts of time grinding and farming for a first try on that. That is just how it is. Running this category at a high level is really, really tough, because you have to deal with the RNG. Even if you have a good run, if the game doesn't give you the RNG, like, you're not getting that time. So yeah. I mean, I'm sure this is true for many other games, but when you have such an obvious like RNG point, it's something like 1 out of every 3 of your runs are even eligible for a PB. And then there's more RNG to deal like at the end of the run, so it's really tough. Anyway, we got Morph Ball before we acquired White Beam. That is really nice. One thing that gets us is a more streamlined route in the early game. We're now going to be able to grab the Vari suit still before we get White Beam. We're going to get White Beam a little later. And again, as a result of doing the Emmy Warp in NMG, in other categories, you would have this long routing around categories, visit lots of like thermal buttons to change and open doors and everything. And so we were able to skip a lot of that. It might not seem like we're doing this any faster than the other categories because I just did like 6th try Emmy Warp, which is not very fun, but this is still gonna be faster than if I hadn't tried the Emmy Warp. I've lost almost 2 minutes, no, almost 3 minutes, right? But this is still going to be faster than if I had done the old categories route. Oh yeah, I was talking about the pickups. I wanted to talk about the pickups rather. I just picked that 10 missile pack because we are going to fight Kraid. And usually you would have White Beam when fighting Kraid, and we don't, so that's going to make for a slightly tougher fight. So we're going to really need those extra missiles. Speaking of lack of White Beam, usually you would do this section with White Beam as well, but I don't have it, so I just have to do the single beam. White Beam facilitates this a lot. I actually got that shot. That is so tough to get with just Power Beam. That little morph shot through the tunnel is so hard to get. And yeah, Vari Climb is a little weird without White Beam. White really helps hit those silly blocks. Oh. No. Yeah, and that's why this section in unrestricted is a little annoying to run because we don't have White Beam. Anyway, it can be done pretty well. I just unfortunately messed up a little bit. If you don't miss your shots too much, it's gonna feel almost as though you have White Beam, but it's just tougher, right? So Vari suit acquired. We are now. Oh, that was a weird slide. We are now able to navigate hot rooms without taking damage. That is pretty nice. That means we are going to be able to travel through Daron and the most crucial hot rooms in the game. And to do that, we are going to fight Kraid. So there is a world where we could avoid the Kraid fight and just do the long route in Cateris just to avoid Kraid. But it turns out that with a decent Kraid fight, you can save something like 30 seconds, 40 seconds over that other route. So, you know, Kraid has been a pretty funny thing in Unrestricted. It's been in and out of the route many times. Every time a glitch is found or taken from the route. Kraid has been in the route and out of the route in many iterations, and it's back in. And it's annoying because we don't have White Beam, which makes the fight really tough. You're greatly dependent on RNG because there's a tech called the charge missiles where you use quick charges alongside missiles to deal lots of damage, but without White Beam that's not really a good choice, so we basically just rely on the missiles for this fight. I do hope I don't get terrible RNG. Alright, and here we go. We're about to see Kraid. Everybody knows Kraid. And I think a lot of people dislike this Kraid fight. I kind of dislike because I usually get terrible RNG. Not the case, I actually got the RNG in phase 1. Can't complain anymore. I kind of have to relearn this fight. I'm borrowing the controller I'm using from my sister. So this controller is not actually like drifting. Drifting used to be a huge problem for me this fight. I kind of have to relearn how to play the game with this controller. because it no longer drifts. Alright, that was actually a decent fight. No complaints there. I mean, it could be better, but this fight tends to be a little bit worse than what you'd see in NMG or Glitchless because, again, no wide beam, right? Oh. Alright, so another thing unique to this route is that because we have skipped wide beam and we haven't gone to Darn at all, we're going to visit Darn for the first time through the purple teleportal, which is unthinkable. Again, like, we are able to get Morph Ball with the crazy exploit and glitch with the Emmy Warp, and that's just unthinkable because other than that, there is no way to get in that room unless you were playing multi-file and use some wall clips to get there and some other Emmy shenanigans, but like, the only way casually you're supposed to get to the Morph Ball room is with Wide Beam, so being able to even get Morph Ball without Wide Beam is actually crazy. So with that, we're able to visit Darn for the first time through the purple teleportal, and the cool thing about this is that the purple teleportal is just below where you grab the Wide Beam expansion or upgrade, and we're right there. All we have to do is turn on this generator room and we collect Wide Beam right there. And because we already have Morph Ball and we already have Various Suit, we have all the requirements we needed to travel to the more important parts of Darn. We don't have to go back to Cadres for Morph Ball, we don't have to go back for anything. So we just, the result of the Emmy Warp is that we get a much more streamlined early game with less redundant routing. It's really cool. Of course, for the price of Emmy Warp RNG, obviously, it's a pretty big downside. It's more of a problem in showcase runs like this. It's not as much of a problem in your own like offline runs because you can reset, right? You can't really reset at an event. You just have to go through with it. So anyway, still on the topic of Emmy Warp and RNG, my time estimate is like over 15 minutes above my like 55 minutes, which is 15 minutes behind my PB, and that should account for something like, I don't know, 20 or more than 20 Emmy Warp attempts, which is like, that would be extremely bad RNG. And based on my success rate with RBX at the end of the game, like, I should be able to stand some pretty bad RNG. Anyway, we're gonna do another pseudo, this time with missiles. It's called the double slide because we're doing a double slide against the wall. And this wouldn't be possible with beams because beams would vanish on the transition. And the blob is actually, I think, a little bit past the transition. And we're through. I usually do that pseudo with the rebind. I actually got it. I think I actually did pretty decently without the rebind there, so patting myself on the back for that. And we get Morph Bomb. So that little shortcut isn't absolutely necessary. It saves something like 10 to 12 seconds if you do it like quick. The alternative would be going through a series of rooms otherwise. I was promised beef. What's up, hamster? Well, dude, I think we got beef here too against the bosses, especially that RBX. Right, so most of the run is pretty chill, or at least the early and mid game is pretty chill. The only time we've done something actual unrestricted so far has been the Emmy Warp. All the other glitches we've done are pretty simple, pretty tame. They're called minor glitches, which you'd most of the running I've done so far is very similar to what you'd see in the no major glitches category, even glitchless to an extent. And that's because most of the unrestricted tech is gated behind specific abilities, which obviously we don't have yet. We'll get them. And when we do, the game just breaks wide open. So most of the run, like 3/4 of the run, is like, you know, pretty chill. And the last quarter of the run is an absolutely insane gauntlet of tricks, unrestricted stuff, major glitches, and it's going to be pretty cool. So next up, we're going to get Flash Shift. We do have one trick just before we acquire Flash Shift called Backdoor Flash. I'll explain a little better when we get closer to it. Right now, because we don't have Grapple Beam as we might in other categories, we have to take this underwater section. We're going to make use of this morphing near ledges to get a little speed boost to speed up our underwater traversal. And oh my goodness, don't grab the ledge, Simmons. And that's it. We're gonna do the slide phantom to dodge the detection radius on that laser enemy so we can go through just fine. And yeah, I like this area. Brania is probably my favorite area in the game. It's pretty chill. It's got a pretty chill theme. Oh my goodness. No, what am I doing? I will say that I'm not really big on the soundtrack for Dread. I think the music sometimes might go a little underappreciated, even for myself, but I can't help but recall like Metroid Prime music that was just has so much character. So this is going to be Backdoor Flash. We're going to use Morph Bombs to trick this shutter into thinking that we are not in there, and we'll just bypass it. That's it. We got a first try. That's pretty nice. I lost a bit of time. That's okay. What's up, Mudgak? Hoi, welcome on in. So, Flash Shift is done. We're gonna do another set of pseudo wave tricks coming right up. We're gonna do these with yet another setup, underwater even. Usually the pseudo waves are used to destroy these explosive blobs we've seen throughout the game. And here is no exception. We're not actually gonna see them because they're pretty... they're off screen, practically off screen. Alright, we're gonna do another trick called the water bomb jump. Normally you're not supposed to be able to gain height underwater with the bomb. The game tells you that much. And well, we got it first try. It's really not hard to do. The way it works is if you drop a bomb on the ground, you get pushed by the bomb into the air and you unmorph in the air. It's like the game stores this state where the next bomb that explodes gets you some extra height. And so as long as you don't touch the ground as Morph Ball, you can be in human form and touch the ground, that's fine. Like you just jump and morph in midair and you get that extra height even underwater. It allows some reaching some places that wouldn't be otherwise possible. But that's, I think, the only time we use it in unrestricted. Hey, what's up, Tex? Is it better to slide morph through tunnels than just slide? Yeah, there's a frame. There are a few frames where if you morph, you actually get a speed boost. So yeah, that is true. If you slide morph into tunnels, that can be faster than just sliding. Alright, we're gonna fight the last enemy of this run. Well, technically, because we still technically fight another one, but not really. Oh yeah, that's right, no rebinds. I have to single match for this. Yeah, you can get some time saves from slide morphs into tunnels. Oh, it's supposed to flash shift, whatever. Oh, I guess I just buffered the flash shift. That's fine too. Like, there's a good example in the morph tunnels you get right immediately after you acquire Morph Ball. There's also the tunnels next to the orange TP, which I might show later. I'm gonna try to do the orange shortcut once we get there, but if I don't get it, I'll do the tunnels. You can even do them fast with skew, but anyway, we'll get to that when we get to that. So we have just acquired Speed Booster. the second of 3 abilities that are necessary for all the unrestricted stuff. The first one was the flash shift, which we acquired before, and now we have speed booster. Technically, we are already able to do some of the unrestricted stuff, but we really need grapple to drive the point home. Oh no, I didn't get the quick charge. There is a world where you can do a series of flash shifts and get damage boosted off of those flying enemies over the lava, but I determined that would be way too risky to do in a live run like that, in a live showcase run. So we're just taking the safe path. For the record, the flash shift tech is only like 2 seconds faster. It's not even that big of a deal. It is a deal though, of course, but if you fall into the lava, you're basically dead. Like, the Various suit only protects you from the heat damage. It doesn't protect you from lava damage, which is a separate kind of damage. And it kills you even faster than just heat damage, of course. So, we're going back to Artaria, and we're going to grab the grapple beam, which is like 10 seconds away. And after we get the grapple beam, the game breaks wide open. And we're going to be able to do some unrestricted stuff for the first time, like for real, not just the enemy warp, like actual unrestricted stuff for real. So I'm going to do a real quick setup. It's very complicated, but bear with me. This little setup that I'm going to do once I'm in the enemy zone is called the Bomb HQ setup. We're going to set up a state for Samus where this game stops being 2D. It's going to become Metroid Dread 3D. So it's done. From here on out, we are playing a different game. If you pay close attention, you might notice something weird with Samus, but it's going to be really hard to notice. Can't blame you. After all, it took the community almost a full year to figure out how to do this glitch. Alright, you see that now? We have broken Samus. We can now use the power of facing the screen to clip through things easy. Just like that. Oh, that was such a late grapple timing, I almost died. And we acquired Screw Attack. So this is one of the few ways that exist now to get Screw Attack early. There are a few other methods. This one is probably the most weird one. Oh no. I hope I didn't lose Q there. Okay, I didn't. I messed up with the ledge climb. But anyway, so we're going to use that state to turn Samus around and do various clips. Learning the floor exists, yeah? Alright. I'm going to have to focus on this one a little bit. Alright. Oh, I'm not supposed to do that third one. Alright. So we are going to... Since we have Screw Attack now, we are basically going to just fly straight to the end of the game, to the finish line. Whereas in NMG or Glitchless, you still have a lot to do at this like equivalent time in the run. But in Unrestricted, we got everything we need to make it to the end of the game. So we're just going to do that. We have one or two little short stops before we get to the final area. This is one of them. So, the orange Stella portal takes us to an area that you are able to get in here early for a little sequence break. You are able to acquire, I think, a missile tank and an ability called the Pulse Radar, which is not mandatory for the game. The Pulse Radar is actually just a casual upgrade that lets you find hidden tiles, hidden blocks around the game. It's pretty nice. We don't ever need this in a speedrun, but yeah. And casually, it is practically impossible to get out of this little isolated area in Gavrin, which is the name of the area we're going to right now. There are ways. One of the ways is to use the Bomber HQ. I'm gonna try to do a little shortcut here. I'm gonna do just one attempt at it to get a little shortcut. Okay, I'm gonna try again because that didn't count. Because if I get it, it looks really cool. Oh no, I didn't get it. All right, I'll just go the normal way. That's a shame. It would have been really cool if I got it. We can do a pretty big wall clip. It's really hard to do that. But yeah, I'm gonna take the normal route, which is the morph tunnels. So I have to play this very carefully because there is a way we can lose that Bomber HQ state I got earlier. And in this place, there is no practical way to get it back. So if I were to lose that state, I would have to go back to the previous area and get it again, which would be a massive time save. So I have to be extremely careful. From here on out, it's okay. I can recover it, but in that tunnels area, it would not be like practical. It's technically possible, it's just really, really annoying. All right, we're gonna do another clip. This is called the mini tornado. We do a few turnarounds, walk into the door, and we're clipped. And now we go through, and that's it. This is the end game in a nutshell. We just do a series of those silly clips, and we get to skip many things. You might think, if you've played this game, that did you just skip a boss fight? Because there's a pretty disgusting boss, like in the room below where you just clipped, right? Some of you might notice that. We didn't actually skip it because... So that boss is called Golzuna. It only spawns if you have released the X, which is something we don't do in this route. We barely even visit several of the endgame areas. We never visit Elan or Ferini at all. And we only go to Gavrin as like a quick pit stop to go into Hanubia, which is where we're heading right now. So yeah. We wouldn't be able to fight Golzuna even if we went into the arena. So, another mini tornado. I actually use the rebind to do tornadoes usually, so it feels weird to do this on the left stick. Alright, and we're through. And another clip called neutral jump clip. We just zip through. This door doesn't kill us out of bounds. Actually, something I didn't mention earlier, that if you're out of bounds, you die. But there are a few things we can do to prevent the out of bounds death. One of them is lag, to just bypass physics checks, and the other is using the grapple beam. It's a very odd property of the grapple beam, but yeah, we can use the grapple. While the grapple beam is out, we're basically immune to out of bounds death. This fight is extremely scary because if I get hit one time, I'm basically dead. I really don't want to get hit. And also, we have power beam for this fight. It's unthinkable. You're supposed to have like all of your abilities except power bomb in this fight, and that would include wave beam, like actual wave beam, not pseudo waves. And yeah, so we beat the first phase with Shine Spark because we have that skew state, because we can. The second phase, we don't do that. We just do beams because it's actually dangerous to beat this boss with Shine Spark. The game is not ready for that. There is a chance we can do some very wacky things and destroy the game. Maybe destroy the console. Okay, it's not that bad, but it's really awkward. So we're not going to risk it. We're not going to do Sparks in phase 2. That was actually surprisingly fast for a single match. It's kind of fine. Well, not a very fast segment overall, but I feel like for a single match, the fight actually went pretty nicely. Pseudo Dread mode. So, we are about to finish the game. Unthinkable, right? How are you about to finish the game? You still have to face Ravenbeak Dad, right? Wrong. No, we don't. We kind of don't. Not in unrestricted any percent. We're gonna go straight for the finish line right here. And off we go. If you've never watched Unrestricted before, you're probably like, what the heck is going on? Understandable. Understandable. So, we're gonna do the last fight in the game, and we're gonna do RBX. Usually you'd have the Metroid suit and Hyper Beam and everything. We don't. We only have these silly beams. This fight is also a bit of RNG. We have to deal a certain amount of damage early on, like a certain threshold of damage. And we have to be dealing damage at one specific frame near the end of the fight. That's why it feels like RNG. Whether or not I get that frame is not entirely up to me, and I didn't get it. So, not first try. Very unfortunate. There's not much I can do about that. I just try to get that damage threshold early on, and then just do a little bit of mashing at the end. A slightly more intense mashing, if I can manage it. And just hope that's it. Okay, we got power bombs. Oh. Now it's just literally down to luck. So this is the problem with running unrestricted, is that you have to tank some RNG at the MU Warp. You have to tank some RNG at RBX. But yeah, I've made my time estimate. So right now we're at 44 minutes. If I got RBX now, we're looking at something like a 47-minute run, or 46, 47. Which is well within the estimate. Like, I would have to redo this fight like over 8 times to actually be in danger of going over the estimate. I don't think we're gonna go over the estimate. I believe, I trust. Hey, we got it! That's huge. Second try is pretty huge. Oh my goodness, if this actually happens in the event, I'll be well within the estimate, even though I had to do like 6th try Emmy Warp, which is pretty bad on its own, but second try Ravenbeak is certainly not that bad. It's a shame it wasn't first try, always, obviously, but this is fine. Anyway, escape, right? You might be used to a different approach to escape, but unrestricted escape is pretty fun. We don't go where you would expect us to go. We're just gonna like improvise the route a little bit. You're not supposed to be able to come to this room in the escape. This is like a sealed off area, but do I care? Do I care? No. And this here is also a sealed off area, but hear me out. This is, trust me, this is fast. Oh. Alright, we don't have power bombs. Sometimes if you're lucky and you get a power bomb, you can actually get through a little faster. Power bombs in the escape are oddly rare, which is why we're taking this route, so we don't have to rely on finding power bombs. That transport you just saw me doing is a little sketchy. If you kill RBX on the first try, that part of the bridge it's like an invisible collision lying there, can kill you, but if you die and reset the checkpoint at any time, it no longer kills you. Anyway, we're about to finish the run. We got the last clip. The run is practically over. Oh, my flagship got lost on the slope. What? Anyway, 46-25. We are going through with 6th try MU Warp, 2nd try RBX. I think I died on the orange shortcut, which, I mean, I was going to try to go for it anyway. It's not like I just wanted to go for the showcase. Maybe I could have tried it a few more times, right? Since we happen to have plenty of time. 46-25 out of 55 minutes is plenty good. It's actually a relief. If this were the actual live showcase, I would be pretty happy because I'm genuinely scared. I remember watching Sonic Orochi do his run, and he got like 8th try Emmy Warp or something crazy like that. That's what I would call extreme bad RNG. I would expect to get the Emu Warp in something like 5 tries. I got 6. It's a little ugly, but it works. And I would expect RBX in at most like 3-4 tries. We got a second try, that's plenty good. I wouldn't ask for more than that. So 46.25 is pretty decent time for RNG. So GG's. The game most certainly never drops the frame you need to kill him. No, Prince. Absolutely not. I think it might actually be beneficial to... That might be a reason why it may be beneficial to start shooting at him kind of late, so you don't clutter or pollute like the screen with lots of beams. There may be a world where when you have wave beam for that fight, the beams last longer, right? They just pierce through everything, so just stay in the screen for longer, and they might cause lag for that reason. Power beam at least just vanishes on the walls, I would like to think, and is maybe not as bad, but yeah, I mean, I think if you have lots of beams out, it just adds to the lag, and it might result in skimming the frame. On that note, I have tried to use home buffer because it's the only lag buffer we have available at RBX. We can pause the game, so the map buffer is not available. I have tried to use the home buffer to see if that would make the frame more lenient, and I think it simply just skips over it. So you might be right about that, actually. But I mean, it certainly works differently for Hyper Beam. All right, let's see that. No, I didn't die, right? Wait, defeated six times? What do you mean 6 times? Wait, no, wait, that might be true. But yeah, that's right, the Emu Warp. Wait, why is it only 6 tries? Shouldn't I have been defeated more times? Because I died with the orange shortcut, I died with RBX 1 time, and then, was it 5th try Emu Warp? Was I under the impression that it was 6th try? Maybe I was, huh? Oh well. 5th try is pretty acceptable, I guess. Anyway, that's the run done. That is a very, a fairly short category, 40-ish minutes. My record is currently a 39:46, I think, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, 39:46, which is really hard to get. Oh my god, I wasn't looking at YouTube. What the heck am I doing? Crafter, what's up, Crafter? You're doing Northside runs for the sake of practice or doing PB attempts? No, I'm not doing PB attempts at all. Yeah, I was practicing like basically what I'm gonna do at the event on Saturday. I'm gonna be running and commentating the run, so that's preparation. And I've noticed a few things that I may want to mention that I didn't mention in this run, but that's why I was practicing. There are like a few details that maybe I could explain a little better or like focus on, because it's gonna be really hard for me to explain things. I have to explain things. I also have to focus on some of the tricks so I don't mess them up. And there's very little time to explain because things just happen so fast. Like, it's hard to explain the pseudo waves because you have 2 at the start of the run, and it's also hard to explain the water skips because there's water slope and then water platform immediately after that. And in the end game, you have like a dozen clips one after each other. Like, how does one explain all that, right? Oh man. But there were a few details that, like, I'm gonna have to like really just summarize the run as much as I can without rambling too much. It's gonna be tough for me as a tutorial guy, but I have to do that. Did you know that under strict 100% tutorial you did? Did you recover 0 E-Tank by any chance? No, I did mention that you can do it without the E-Tank. I did mention that you can do Hell Run without the E-Tank, but no, I didn't specifically cover 0 E-Tank because my walkthrough was mostly focused on the tricks, not the general movement. It was mostly the tricks, like the pseudo waves, the mag escape, the water slope skip, water platform, seam pseudo, Emu warp, DT slide missile for morph bomb, backdoor flash, skew setup, shine sinks, wall clips. That was the stuff that I explained. I did give some details on movement, but that was not the focus of the walkthrough, because for movement you have pretty much all the other categories to explain movement. And like E-tank, 0 E-tank versus 1 E-tank usually comes down to whether or not you're confident in doing the hell run with 1 E-tank or with no E-tank upgrades, and how confident you feel doing the crate section, like the section before crate, because you have to go through several enemies. Ideally, you want to tank some deboosts for the sake of time, and if you have limited HP, then you're gonna have to play that area extra safe, right? May responds, be blessed. Thank you, Jackknife. I appreciate it. Not trying to throw an early charge yet to set up difficulty. Yeah, I'm not super consistent at that yet. Like, I'm fairly consistent at the trick itself, but the problem is the parry. I actually did a pretty fun experiment. I sat through 50 parries just to measure like my success rate. My success rate on that test was 50%. I got 25 out of 50 parries were successful. The other 25 were not successful. So I guess I have something like a 50% success rate on the parry, which is plenty good. But I can have stretches where I have like 8 parries in a row or 8 fails in a row. So it's that variable. And I can do the trick, but then if I have to gamble more RNG on the parry, when I already have to gamble RNG on Emmy Warp and RBX, I'm not really sure I want to add that to a live showcase at the moment. That is the problem. Because if it was just the setup, I would do it. But since I have to tank some more RNG, I'm not so sure about that. I'm actually going to do another run next. I'm going to run some old bosses. I also want to try to submit that for GDQ. Pixels for People is guaranteed any percent unrestricted. I'm going to try to do a little bit of old bosses unrestricted and try to submit that. And for that one, I am going to try to do early charge because the only RNG point we have is Emmy Warp, since we don't do RBX with beams. We do RBX properly after Ravenbeak. So I can tank some more RNG in the early game with early charge. I'm definitely going to try that. How are we able to kill that enemy during the run to crate when it comes out of the terrain? You prepare a charge beam and a missile, and maybe a couple beams. Yeah. DJ Cosmos, Henry Towers, and Klubalel, welcome on into the stream. What's the difference between clear and playtime? Oh, I guess that was aimed at like the end screen. I think one of them takes into account your like the cutscenes that you would have watched. Like, we're skipping the cutscenes, obviously, right? This is speedrun. We're not watching cutscenes, but I think your clear time, one of them is higher than the other. I think it's the one that takes into account the cutscene times, and the playtime, the other one, I'm not sure. Honestly, I'm not entirely sure. Yeah, probably that one takes into account like the cutscene times and the other doesn't, or maybe the reload to checkpoint times. I'm not too sure about that. Time spent in menu 2. That makes sense. It could be that. I'm not entirely sure. Yo, what's up, Henry? Okay, I'm gonna do a little practice of early charge. Early charge, like, I know I just made the tutorial and everything, but the problem with early charge to me is that I've had to practice multiple setups, so I have built bad muscle memory. If you go look at like SAT or B-Dog's runs, like they seem to do the setup pretty consistently. I'm sure they still have to reset a few times and everything, but like, I think they just went straight for the good setup immediately. But I for the sake of the tutorial, had to learn a few different setups and the ins and outs and everything, so like my muscle memory is a complete mess. Hey, what's up, Metroid? I saw the video explaining early charge. Early's so cool. I love that the melee counter actually has used for skips and stuff. Yeah, it's something that, I mean, we've used before, namely in the suitless route. It used to be the way that you got the axis skew to get to the gravity skip. You just did the millies on the enemy, but because you had... Oh yeah, I forgot I had skew there. I don't need skew right now. Oh yeah, wait, let me turn on the... Let me turn on the rebinds so I don't get messed up. Yeah. Oh, actually, I think we do grab this for Corpus at least. That was such a bad coyote, and I still got it. Alright. No luck on the berry. If I get the early timing in the berry, I just never get it. I am very rarely able to react to that early timing. It's just so early through the animation, it just doesn't make any sense. So that's the problem I have with taking early charge to any percent unrestricted. If I get a late parry, I usually can take it. But if I get the early timing, it just really messes me up. And that's mid timing. Alright, mid timing is like a 50-50. Late timing is a high chance that I get it. Early timing is a very low chance that I get it. So overall, it's like a 50-ish% chance. Which is not particularly nice for a run. Ideally, you want to take tricks at like 90% consistency. Or at least something like 80% consistency. Depending on the trick. Some tricks are crucial. You really want them at high consistency. Alright, so that's that. If I get a late timing, it's usually pretty easy to react to, for me. If I get the other timings, it's not as easy. So I wouldn't mind tanking this time loss. Like in all bosses unrestricted. But this is like... I'm already 1 minute behind, or like somewhere between 1 minute and 1.5. Because I had to do this 3 times. It's definitely not ideal. If I were to do this in a different route, like all bosses unrestricted, which currently only has 1 point of RNG, and I would have 2, it's a little less of an issue. What's up, Melon? I look away for 5 minutes and retard is different. Yeah, this game is like that. Like, not too long ago, I didn't think this would be possible. And now look at us, just doing fast Atari and early charge beam just like that. So weird. Alright, guys, I'm gonna grab some water. I'm gonna take a very quick break, and we're gonna do all bosses unrestricted next, so that I can submit that category as well to AGDQ. I don't expect they'll accept, but I mean, if I don't submit, sure as heck they won't accept, am I right? We'll try. We'll try. Alright, I'll be right back. Alright, chat, we're back. Thank you for the glue sprints. Thank you, thank you. Well, I hope they at least look at it. I have submitted before, but that was when they accepted ads and money's runs, which was very fun to watch. So, can't blame them. They made a good choice, honestly. I believe they did a race. I think, was it old bosses they did? Or some glitchless category, or both? I don't recall exactly, but they had a pretty good run. So I'm gonna do all bosses unrestricted, which I think is a more feasible category for a live showcase. Not necessarily more feasible. I mean, I don't expect I'll get like infinitely bad RNG even if I have to redo a lot of ME warps or RBX attempts, but yeah, I mean, since there's more RNG in just do Hundo UR, Hundo UR has the same problems as any percent UR. And it's got a lot of cool tech. It's actually not a bad thing. It's actually not a bad idea. I could submit all three actually, like any percent UR, Hundo UR, all bosses UR. They just have to choose one of them. And to be fair, because the category is longer, I could probably get away with a larger estimate. Right? That'd be cool. You know what? The only thing I'm scared about in Hundo is the Freeney missiles. Hundo is the only category I'm still scared of. I'll eventually fool around with it. Go. Yeah, I would like other people to mess around with the category because, well, I did make the current fastest route, but I'm sure there's a lot of work that can be done with it. But after my last PB, I don't want to look at it. I'm sure you understand, right? RBX, semi-warp, the cold room. Clips are pretty scary. Not as scary once you get to practice a bit, but like, yeah, it can be a pretty frustrating point if you mess it up for too long. Yeah. But like, it's a pretty cool category. Like, unrestricted in general is such a cool set of categories until you have to deal with the RNG of things. Because if it was just the rest, it wouldn't be nearly as bad. And now with early charge beam making matters even worse, I don't know what to say. If I ever touch unrestricted categories again, it'll have to be with early charge. There's no other way. But yeah, I'm sure there's a lot to be saved in Hundo. I think a sum of best can be like a low 123 to maybe even lower. I don't know. Maybe a sub 120 is going to be like the next big milestone. Now that early charge is possible. Anyway, we're going to do all bosses unrestricted next. All bosses unrestricted. We're basically going to defeat all bosses by all means, by any means necessary, by any means available. That's the meaning of unrestricted. We're going to have the ability to use major glitches, obviously. So as for all unrestricted categories, if you ever look at the leaderboards and you see that the hyper missile glitch is banned, you might think, yeah, okay, then unrestricted doesn't make sense because they're still banning this one glitch, right? So what even is hyper missile? Hyper missile is when you leave your switch on for 3 days straight, okay? 3 days straight in game, like it's not suspended, it's not in the main menu, it's in game with the game running for 3 days. Well, it doesn't have to be straight, it can be in shifts, let's call it that, but basically 3 days. And after 3 days, the game has a desynchronization issue due to floating point precision, or rather imprecision, that causes delta time values to be skewed. And that results in, like skewed as in instead of getting the expected delta time, you get a larger delta time than you're supposed to. And even though the game mostly runs at the same speed, some things like cooldowns for various abilities and interactions in the game are sped up. So basically you get a larger delta time, so some things are faster. For example, your missile fire rate, which is the most obvious thing, is like your missiles fire like double the speed, like double their usual speed. And there are many other interactions like that. So for the sake of category health, the moderators have banned that glitch because it would be extremely tedious to set it up for runs. And it doesn't even save that much time because the things that it does affect are very limited and unrestricted. We don't have a ton of boss fights. We do have Crate and Corpus, yes, but I mean, in all bosses, it would probably be a pretty big deal because you have to fight all the bosses, right? But even then, it would be such a hassle to have to set it up just to run. And then maybe you want to play other games and you can because you have to leave it on for that game. And that state doesn't last forever. After a week of leaving the game on, you get the opposite. The delta time is rounded down to 0, so nothing happens forever. The game just like bricked until you reset it. So yeah, it is a fun little glitch that is not allowed for health reasons. Anyway, all bosses in restricted, we kill all bosses by all means necessary using major glitches, with the exception obviously of the hyper missiles. And let's get on with it. I actually have to set up the splits first. I don't know when's the last time I ran old bosses. Yeah, old bosses, early Farini. I think this is the one. Oh, what is it? What are these splits? You know what? I have to make new splits for this because I'm going to be using the early charge route. So yeah, let's just do that. I'm gonna copy one of my existing splits files and just go from there. Okay, I found one that's purple TP after Frozen Retire. That's probably the one I was looking for. I'm gonna call this one early charge. All bosses early charge, yeah. 150, that can't be right. That can't be right. This. Wait, did I open the wrong file? It's not supposed to be an MG. Early charge. Okay, I think I may have copied an NMG file. I don't understand. It's 100% NMG. Okay, well, that's not what's supposed. Whatever. Anyway, all bosses unrestricted. I guess I'll just remake the splits then. Whatever. Alright, so first thing we're getting is charge beam. I can't believe I have to do this. I thought I had my splits ready. Hey, what's up, Melon Toad? Hey, yo, we got double melons in chat. How you doing? I'm doing good. How you doing? Thank you so much for stopping by. Lamau, that is absurd. Same happens in Twilight Princess and R64. No A-Press. Delta Desync is what you mean. But this is a Switch game. This is a modern game. How can that be? Right? Spider Magnet. Enter batteries. Morph Ball, because we're gonna do Emmy Warp, obviously. Various Suit, then Diffusion Beam. It's actually fine that I'm doing the splits because I have to review the route. I haven't done all bosses in Restricted in a while. I have some unfinished business with this route, especially now that we have early charge. So Diffusion Beam into Morph Bomb, into Flash Shift, into Speed Booster, into Grapple Beam, into Screw Attack, and then we do Red Show. Well, actually, enter Barania, enter Frozen. Wait. Enter Frozen Barania. Let's see, so I can show the splits being made, so it's not like completely like just narrated. Frozen Artaria, Red Shozo, Z57. What else is there? Antifarenia. No, actually, just do Storm Missile. Wave Beam. Should I do? I'm a little torn because I could do the space jump backdoor, or I could do the double clip into the Emmy zone. But I haven't practiced that yet. I mean, I have practiced pretty much the other day when I did the legacy routing. That's pretty much all the tech I needed to know to be able to do this. So I can technically do it. No problems there. Where's the best way to get space jump? Because if I clip into the enemy zone, I guess I only get space jump after wave beam. It's the only thing that makes sense. No, I'm gonna do Enter Gavin because Drog is gonna be a little hard to split at because I have to skip cutscenes and whatnot. Ice Missile, and then we do Enter Elan, leave Elan, Cross Bomb, Power Bomb, Enter Iterash. Raven Beat Daddy. And escape. I think that's all the stuff. Okay, I hope I'm not forgetting anything. So we're gonna do early charge, Phantom Cloak, Magnet, Cataruz with the Emmy Warp. Various Suit and Diffusion, Morph Bomb. Oh yeah, I forgot White Beam after the fusion. No. Light Beam, Morph Bomb, Flash Shift, Speed Booster, Grapple Beam, Screw Attack, Enter Frozen Barania, Enter Frozen Rotaria, Red Shows with 57, Storm, Wave, Space, Enter Gavin. Oh yeah, I need another. Oh yeah, I need to split here for Cyan Portal. Ice Missile, then Enter Elan. We're gonna do Ledge Warp for that one. Okay. Okay. Alright, I think that's it. Alright, let's save the splits and go for a little test run. So this one I'm not as well rehearsed as any percent unrestricted. I'm gonna have to relearn things as I go, but I think it should still make for a decent enough showcase run. Yeah. Maybe I should do like a practice run before I do this, but I think submissions end tomorrow or after tomorrow, so I don't have a ton of time for that. Alright folks, let me introduce this route again. I'm going to be running all bosses unrestricted. It's a category where we're going to defeat all bosses by any means available to us. We're going to have the ability to use major glitches. There's only one glitch we can't use, that's called Hyper Missile, because it's really tedious to set up. It literally is just unhealthy for the game. That's why it's banned from unrestricted categories. And yeah, we're gonna go straight to the run. Let's do this. So just like in any percent unrestricted in most of the categories, most of the run is movement. Samus moves fast on the ground, Samus moves slow in the air, so we just try to optimize our ground time, minimize our air time, and just go fast. You'll see me doing things like sliding or dash melee over ledges. You're going to see me doing quick climbs, which is we grab a ledge and immediately just quickly climb up it. So with just that, you should be able to understand most of the movement that I'm going to be doing for pretty much the rest of the run. So a lot of these movement optimizations are like case by case, depending on specific places in layout. But yeah, so this is Adam. We're going to talk to Adam a maximum of 2 times for the whole run, because we're going to do the new route called Early Charge Route. We are going to gain access to Charge Beam early if I can get through the skip fast. So coming up here, we're going to have our first trick of the run. It's called the Pseudo Wave. We're going to use the slide animation, which reduces Samus collision box to clip shots through the ceiling and gain reverse access to this area. We have just skipped the tutorial, And we're going to go straight into another pseudo wave, which is called the early Corpus or early Cloak. Having a little trouble with this. Oh my goodness. Okay, shouldn't have taken that long, but sometimes it's like that. Alright, now we're going to do a pretty big trick called early charge beam. We're going to use this enemy to reach a very high platform that's normally unreachable. And then we're going to have to parry the enemy. Let's try this. Alright, now I have to parry the enemy. It's kind of RNG. Oh, I missed it. I still got it! Yo! That is actually so nice. I would not have expected first try on that, honestly. Especially not on the second strike. The second strike, so like the enemy will attempt to kill you twice in that sequence. The first attempt is like, it's hard to react to. It's like 200 milliseconds or so. It's more feasible to parry the first attack than it is to parry the second. So I basically just got very lucky doing that. So 236 grabbing charge beam, that is pretty fast. I did lose a bit of time on that pseudo wave, unfortunately. But it's okay. So now we have acquired charge beam. We're gonna go and backtrack through this section again. Thanks to that skip, we are going to avoid a large portion of our target. In other categories, you might have seen me do something called the slope. Oh my goodness, the slope skip, the water slope skip, the water platform skip. But we're just skipping all the water sections in our target, pretty much. And yeah, we're gonna come back to this point where we did the pseudos, and we are gonna fight Corpus. Thanks to that skip, we're able to have charge beam and Corpus in a fast route. So even if the Corpus fight doesn't go too well, I can still back it up with charge beam. Let's see how it goes. Alright, no headlock. Wow, that was a really good fight. That was very good. Damn, there's a world out there where I could get a sub 4 cloak with slightly better movement and not messing up the pseudos earlier. What's up, Dioptus? Wait, is this Aber or any percent? So I started doing any percent. I didn't change the title actually, but I'm doing little bosses unrestricted right now, yes. It's another showcase run. I'm gonna try to submit this for GDQ once it's done. So it's going to be all bosses unrestricted with a little bit of commentary. We are taking the early charge route. Actually went well. Didn't you skip a lane? I did! I'm stupid! Oh no! Oh my god! Thank you for letting me know, Dioptas. That's the issue with running multiple routes. Oh my god, and I actually had first try on the early charge. That was going so well. Yes, I did unfortunately skip that. Oh no. Oh my god. We're gonna do it again. Alright, fine. Okay, we'll do it again. I'm glad no one told me that like 30 minutes into the run. I would have had to kill a lane doing screw attack. So it can be backed up. You can do it when you go for screw attack, but it's not ideal. Anyway, let's start over. So I'm going to be running the all bosses unrestricted category. This is a category where obviously we defeat all bosses, but unlike glitchless or no major glitches, we are going to defeat all bosses with any means available to us. The only glitch we're not able to use is called Hyper Missile, which you'll see if you read the leaderboard's rule sets. And the reason for that is just, like, for the sake of having a healthy category, Hyper Missile is a very unique glitch in the way it's set up. It requires a 3 real-time setup. 3 days of real-time setup. I'm not kidding. It is really tedious to set up. So, yeah. We're not doing hyper missile. And let's actually start the run. Maybe I shouldn't like focus too much on the hyper missile since we're not gonna do it, but I figure like it's something that might be an interesting thing to explain. Anyway, movement 101 for Metroid Dread. This applies to pretty much all categories, but Samus moves slowly on the ground. Samus moves fast in the air, so our goal with movement basics is to maximize our ground time and minimize our air time. We're going to use the variable jump heights, like we're just going to jump as much as necessary, like as little as necessary to go from floor to platform. You're going to see me doing things like sliding or dash milling off of platforms. That is faster in a lot of cases. And this is Adam, by the way. We're only talking to Adam 2 times in this run due to the new skip called Early Charge Beam. Anyway, you're going to see me doing quick climbs, which is when we jump immediately after grabbing a ledge so that we just quickly climb over it. If you don't do that, you get something called the slow climb. Just like that. You're going to see me do that a lot in this section, in this climb here. Alright, we're going to do our first boss fight within the first like 2 minutes of the run. We are going to do the tutorial Emmy. Most other categories will skip this with some cleverly placed pseudo wave beams, which we'll see very soon. So this is the tutorial Emmy. There's not much to be said about this boss. It's falling apart. It's not particularly difficult of a fight, but we're doing all bosses, so we have to do that. So this tutorial teaches us how to kill an Emmy. We are going to have to kill several Emmys throughout the run. This is only the first. The game teaches us how to use the Omega Cannon, which is a unique weapon that is featured only in the Emmy boss fights. Technically, with glitches, we can take this Omega Blaster, Omega Cannon to other places, but casually, it's only something you do in this... Yeah. Oh yeah, I'm not supposed to... Anyway, Wave Beam. Pseudo Wave Beam. This is one of the pseudo wave setups. We are going to destroy that blob with the help of a slide. If you jump out of a slide, Samus has a reduced hitbox. And so we use that to fire shots through the ceiling. Now, we're going to do the early charge skip. This is very new tech that was just found like a few days ago. We're going to use the Emmy to reach pretty much impossible to reach ledge. Oh, I missed it. Let's try again. That was pretty bad wall jump tech. Stall jump tech. Alright, that's pretty good. We're through. Now we have to do that parry. Please. Oh, we get the late timing. I like the late timing. Nice. That was very nice. And we get it first try. That is not technically not first try because I flubbed the setup the first time, but it's okay. As I said earlier, I've had to learn multiple setups for the sake of making the tutorial. My muscle memory is a mess for that trick. But anyway, we're through. That is plenty good. I'm glad we got that late timing because I could have spent several retries on that. The Emmy parry is not easy to get. There is some consistency if you understand how it works, but it's still really hard because you are given very little time to react to the parry and actually take it. So I could have spent like, I don't know, several attempts. I don't know how many attempts it could take. It's like sort of random, right? Sort of RNG. It took one attempt. It could have taken 2, 3, 4, maybe 5 if I got really unlucky. So yeah, but it's something that I can take in this route because unlike any percent unrestricted, we have less points of RNG to deal with, so having a second one is not as bad, and it's also in the early game. Alright, up next we're going to do another boss fight. This is a boss you would normally do like at the end of Artaria, but we're going to do it fairly early on. Oh no, that's not good. Oh my goodness. And I don't even get headlock. Alright, that wasn't even that bad. Okay, I need to undo... Yeah, I need to undo all of my... split so far because I split when I wasn't supposed to. Alright, so we've done Corpus. Normally you would, at this point, you would go to talk to Adam again. We're not gonna go there yet. In order for us to do the next fight with the white Emmy, we need to activate some a thermal press, a thermal button press. So we're gonna do that first. And in doing that, we're streamlining the route. So thanks to the routing we did earlier, we were able to skip one Adam. And we're gonna talk to that Adam after this. And we were supposed to talk to Adam twice in that room, but we're only gonna talk one time. And the result of that is any Adams that we would have had to talk in future, like in other rooms in future parts of the run. So usually you're logged into the Adam room, right? But because we're gonna skip one conversation with Adam in this room right next, any other Adam rooms we visit in the future are not gonna force us to stay logged. So we're gonna be able to skip Adam conversations for the rest of the run. This is the last time we're talking to Adam. Bye, Adam. Which is very early on. So we're making our way to the fight against the white Emmy. We're almost there. Alright, now that I have my rebinds on, I can actually do a little bit of mashing. That is called weaving, which is alternating beams with missiles. You basically fire beams and play around the missile cooldown as much as you can. Alright, let's defeat the Emmy. Think I'll be able to get that plant kill. I probably didn't even need to mash for this. I did just for safety. Actually, I probably shouldn't do that on this controller. This is not my usual controller. I borrowed it. So this is a mint state controller practically. So mashing becomes easier once the D-pad is a little roughed up, which I use the D-pad for mashing with rebinds. When the D-pad's not a little roughed up, it's a bit weird to use it for mashing. Probably shouldn't abuse it too much. I want to return it in one piece. Right, so white enemy's been defeated, the central unit has been defeated. I believe they both count as separate boss fights. So now we're going to leave Artaria and play the rest of the game. Oh my goodness. Alright. So we're just going to do a bunch of movement. Up next, we're going to see a trick called the Artaria 2 Calories Deboost, or Artaria Elevator Deboost, where we're going to use some enemies and get damage boosted to save time in movement. The alternative would be to take some magnets on the ceiling, but we're not going to do that. We're going to do this. Alright, that was a little sketchy, but I still backed it up just fine. Alright, so taking a 9-minute trip in Artaria in all bosses is almost unthinkable. It would be unthinkable not long ago, but now with the early charge skip, this is possible. So, loading screens in Metroid Dread are very long. They are the perfect time to read out donations. Yep, but we're not have any donations to read, so just keep that part here in the in the stream. So first thing I can tell about calories is because we skipped Adam earlier, we are able to just go into calories and go through this Adam room for free. We don't get locked, so yeah, that's something that saves probably anywhere between 15 to 20 seconds, or somewhere between 15 to 20 seconds, not having to sit there and talk to Adam. It's actually a very significant time save. So that is the last bit of time save we get from doing that early charge skip. Oh no, I'm not going to be able to do this trick now. No! Wow! I got sabotaged by that. Never seen that before. Jeez. That little ply just hit me and brought me back down. That is disgusting. Alright, we're going to do a little thing called the Hell Run. We're going to go through a hot room, which is very dangerous. In other Metroid games, hot rooms don't deal a ton of damage. In this game, it deals extreme damage. So we have to go through this hot room really fast so we don't get killed. And this is the reason why I picked up that E-Tank earlier. Not just for the boss fights, but also for that. We're going to do one more pseudo wave, this one using missiles. This is called the seam pseudo because we're firing missiles into the seam between two different kinds of collisions. It's very weird. But that's how it is. And that actually went pretty fast. Sometimes this game is tough because sometimes tricks go fast. This is called the former Adam skip. We still do this trick for the immediate time save, but this used to be the Adam skip. Doing this trick would allow us to skip a very crucial Adam. But now that we did early charge, this is no longer like not really an Adam skip, but just an Adam save. Just a time save. No, oh my god, what am I saying? So we are going to do unrestricted for the first time in this category. The glitches we've done so far have been pretty chill. Now we're going to do the Emmy Warp. We are going to fight the Emmy and acquire Morph Ball without having Wide Beam, which is kind of unthinkable because casually you're only able to access this fight once you have Wide Beam. There's literally a door that has this hatch that only opens with Wide Beam. We're going to use this glitch called Emmy Warp. We're going to do a series of exploits into glitch that will let us respawn the Emmy in one of 3 locations. And one of those locations is inside the arena where we do the boss fight. Alright, we got one warp, but it's not to the right location, so I'm just going to let the Emmy finish us, unfortunately, and we're going to try again. I can only hope we don't have to do this too many times. This is going to be the last point of like really tough RNG in the run. We've already done one, which was the early charge skip. This is the second one and last. There is some RNG to be had in boss fights, but it's never as extreme as this one here. Right, so the spawn points that the Emmy can choose are associated with the Emmy door. We did this free aim trick earlier, which causes the Emmy to respawn. This is also not the correct spawn, so that second try, we didn't get it. So, I guess I have another shot at explaining Emmy Warp. We're gonna do this free aim trick on the Emmy door. And we're not really going through, but the game thinks we're going through that Emmy door. Like, the game expects the transition to happen. We're gonna give him a transition, just not where the game is expecting. We're gonna give a transition on the door. So we're gonna get Emmy parry at the same frame that we transition through here. And that's gonna cause us the Emmy to respawn, and we'll warp alongside the Emmy. Alright, we got the spawn. Alright, nice. So normally you're not able to use the pause screen, but because we did those exploits and the respawn and whatnot, we're actually able to pause the game and use the pause menu there to buffer our melee and guarantee that we get the parry. It's really cool. So despite having that RNG with the trick, at least the parry is guaranteed. Alright, so all the RNG for this run is already done. We're going in with third try Emmy Warp, which is genuinely very good. We're also going in with first try early charge skip, which also is genuinely very good. I could have been there for like 5 attempts or something, just because the parry is a little unpredictable at times. Technically, my success rate with the parry is something around 50%, which is not bad, but you know, there is such a thing as getting bad attempts in a row. Right, we got this fight done with Emmy Warp. We don't have White Beam, so this is truly unrestricted. It's unthinkable to even come in here without White Beam, but we did it. So now that we have Morph Ball, we can proceed. We're gonna go and get Varia Suit. We're gonna go and do Crate Fight after that. So let's get on with it. There aren't any noteworthy tricks for a while. For quite a while, actually. So this would probably be a good time for more donations and stuff. Like, a good amount of time. So thanks to the fact that we're playing in rookie mode, we start the game with 30 missiles. If this were normal mode or higher, we would only have 15. And to fight Crate, ideally you want to have something like 30-ish missiles if you have White Beam, but since we don't have White Beam, missiles are our only source of damage, like our only real source of damage against Crate. That's why we picked up the 10 missile tank. Because without White Beam, we can do some nifty strats. And so, yeah, we really want to have some missiles to have a good fight. Crate is also a bit of a point of RNG, but it's like nothing as extreme as the Emmy Warp by far. You can lose some time to a bad RNG fight because you might run out of missiles and your DPS is severely limited. Alright, so during this section here, usually we have White Beam. Right now, of course, we have skipped it. Doing the climb through here without White Beam is a little sad. Not ideal. Oh, I didn't get Charge Beam there. I slacked. Yeah, there are lots of breakable blocks around this section, so not having White Beam makes it a little harder to get through cleanly. Of course, we can still get through, but usually not as cleanly as the thing. Right, we're through. We're gonna get Varia Suit, and that's done. Oh. Oh yeah, usually I would have opened this with Charge, but I somehow got distracted and I didn't. Alright then, we are making our way to Crate. So, because we don't have White Beam, it's going to be a little sketchy. And the way to Crate is a little dangerous. We got several enemies, but we do have some HP for that. We're going to tank some deboost. I'm also going to get some water real quick. This would be also a good time for donations and stuff. Alright, I'm back just in time. Just in time. Alright, we're gonna get this nice little melee here. If you don't destroy all the blocks, you can use that dash melee to skip the platform after the lava. I'm actually kind of low HP. I think I may have to tank a parry somewhere to not die. No, actually I got some HP there. I'm good. I'm actually good. There is a way you can play through this section safe without taking damage. It'd be pretty nice for Dread mode where you die in one hit. But we don't have to worry too much about that in this category. Anyway, crate fight, right? Everybody hates this guy. Because this fight is so RNG. And I'm getting decent RNG. There's another attack pattern that's very annoying to deal with. So we're going to do something called the single wall jump. We're going to use Morph Ball to climb the wall. And that skips a portion of the fight. We just go straight to dealing damage where it matters. In Crate's mouth. Otherwise, you could deal damage to the belly, but it's not really what you want to aim for. Oh my goodness. I'm getting decent RNG, but lots of downtime with the animations. Alright, that was okay fight. Could be better, but we'll take that. The RNG wasn't all that bad. Could have been a lot worse. And we got the fusion beam. So now we're gonna make our way to the purple teleportal. Right here. And this is one of the cool things about the routing that we get for doing Emi Warp. Normally you would have already visited Dairon and acquired the Wide Beam, but we haven't visited Dairon yet, and our first time visiting is actually through the purple teleportal, which should be practically impossible otherwise, right? That's a pretty cool thing about this routing. And funnily enough, the purple teleportal is right next to White Beam. So the fact that we do Emi Warp, we're able to streamline a lot of these early game sections very nicely. So we need to turn on this generator so we can access the White Beam room. Now we can actually go for that. So since we already have Morph Ball and we already have Varisuit, we don't have to return to the other areas. We basically just kind of one-trip Dairon here. We just go straight for what matters. And fun fact here, normally when you get Wide Beam in a not so glitched playthrough, you wouldn't have Morph Ball here, so you just have to like exit through the bottom. But because we have Morph Ball, we can do this. It almost looks like an intended Morph Ball tunnel there, like for you to leave the room, but no. We're only able to do that because we glitched. That Morph Tunnel is actually made to prevent you, to stop you from leaving the room, except through the white cover at the bottom. But because we have Morph Ball, we don't have to do that. So we're going to do another little instance of the single wall jump to climb up here. There is another way you can do that where you do a slide coyote on the platform below, but single wall jump is pretty cool. It's also a little faster, so we do that. Another pseudo wave coming up right here. I'm going to use the rebind method to line up my angle. We're going to destroy another one of those blobs from the wrong side, and it's going to save us something like 10-ish seconds of going around a longer route. So this is pretty cool. With this generator, we are now enabling service in this area, which contains Morph Bomb, so we are going to get Morph Bomb right now. I guess they need Wi-Fi to open these doors. If you don't turn on the generators, they don't have Wi-Fi in ZDR. Alright. So, not many boss fights coming up anytime soon. We have lots of movement, few tricks. Next up, we're gonna go for Flash Shift. And It's a pretty long section without anything remarkable to say. So, yeah. That and a long loading screen make for good good time for donations. Yep. Right, so we got through Darren. That was a pretty clean kind of early game one trip. It's not exactly one trip because we are still coming back to Darren a few times, but we got Wide Beam and Morph Bomb in one go because we were able to, thanks to the ME Warp routing. Like normally you'd have to like do this long section in Calories, then go to Darren to get Wide Beam, come back to Calories, get Morph Ball. It's just very complicated. So yeah, we really streamlined that Darren split thanks to the routing. So Berenium, the water sector of this game, it does not have an Emmy. This is the only section in the game that does not have an Emmy. And because we don't have a grapple beam yet, we have to take this underwater section, which might seem pretty slow, but we actually have some cool movement tech that we can use there to speed things up a little bit. Now, up next is going to come up a little trick. It's not a glitch, it's just a trick. Even glitchless categories can do it. We're going to use Morph Bombs to enter the Flash Shift room, which is an upgrade, an ability. We're going to use bombs to enter that room, well, as a backdoor, which makes it really fast to enter, and the alternative would be something like a 40-second big detour underwater. So we're not gonna have to do that big detour. We're just gonna go straight into the room and get it. Yep, we're basically tricking this shutter sensor door thing that we're not on it. So when you step on that shutter, it closes. So we're kind of tricking the game into thinking that we're not there. And it's okay to open. We're not getting through. And, well, I did get through. I lied. Don't tell the shutter. Alright, another series of pseudo wave shots coming through. This time going to be underwater with one different setup. And now we're going to do yet another setup with pause buffers. Like, there are literal dozens of pseudo wave setups in the game. Now, this trick is called the water bomb jump. This might not look like a trick, but usually you're not supposed to be able to gain height underwater with morph bombs. No one likes water, water is slow. Yeah, that's usually true for most games. But thankfully, we actually have some good tech to make the water sections a little better. Anyway, I was talking about water bomb jump. Yeah, normally you're not supposed to gain height underwater with morph bombs, but there is a little glitch. Well, I guess it's called the glitch. It seems like a glitch where if you get pushed by the morph bomb in morph ball and you unmorph in the air, as long as you don't touch with like in morph ball form on the ground, you can use your next bomb underwater even. So that allows us to reach some places that we're not really supposed to be able to, which is really nice. And that was one example of it. The alternative was we just took a longer route to climb up to that platform, but it's not a significant time save. It's a nice time save, of course, but like it's not like a deal breaker if you don't do it. Alright, we're going to use the charge missile, which is a tech where we quick charge the charge beam and we fire a missile at the same time. And that results in slightly more damage to that shell part of the Central Unified because it's immune to just standard beams. It only takes damage from charge beam and missiles at this point. So that's a way to deal a little extra damage. Yo, what's up, Eric? Reaching places you aren't supposed to makes the game fun. Yeah, that's the cool thing about Metroid games, or Metroidvanias in general, I suppose. You're literally supposed to be on your own and figure out the way on your own. So if you're reaching places you're not supposed to be, it's nice. It's definitely nice. So we're grabbing Speed Booster. That's done. So in terms of unrestricted tech, we have now acquired 2 out of 3 abilities that completely break the game. The first of them being Flash Shift, which we acquired just before. Now we are going to return to our target to grab the Grapple Beam. In other categories, you can get the Grapple Beam earlier, but in this category, it's more convenient to us to grab it later, because we have other business to do in Artaria, so we just do it all in one go. So Grapple Beam is going to be the third of 3 abilities that we absolutely need to break the game and start doing the unrestricted tech. So we're going to use a funny little setup that requires the use of Flash Shift and Speed Booster, which we can use already. But we also need Grapple Beam because Grapple Beam has an interesting property. In this game, they made a... Sorry about the dogs. There's not much I can do about that. There is a fail-safe thing that exists in this game where, for some reason, the Grapple Beam makes you immune to out-of-bounds damage. It's something that the devs made probably to prevent people from abusing out-of-bounds. Obviously not supposed to go out-of-bounds, but if by any chance people go out-of-bounds, then they just die, so they don't just go out exploring stuff they're not supposed to. But Grapple Beam gives you a little bit of immunity against out of bounds, so we just exploit that to be able to clip things. So right now I'm gonna do that little setup. We're gonna get a glitch called Bomohisque state. We're gonna get Samus in a very special state, and we're already in that state. The game is broken. You might notice something weird about Samus. It's hard to notice, but you might. And now we're going to do the first clip of the run by using that state. By doing these movements, we're partially clipping into this little structure here. And now we just spark through and we have clip. That is a clip. And most... Oh no, I just lost Q. Oh, that's not good. Not supposed to happen, but it's okay. I can get it back. Alright, these things happen. It's important to know many backups throughout the run. Alright. We're still in the game. It's okay. So you can lose that state if you jump in midair with a neutral jump. If you turn around in midair with a neutral jump. It is all too easy to do that in this game. You need to do a complete rewiring of your movement if you're gonna play unrestricted, really. You gotta be extremely careful not to lose that state. There are some places in the game where losing it may result in a soft lock. In this run, I don't think there's anywhere in particular you can be completely soft locked, but there are a few places where it would be very inconvenient for sure. So this we just did here is not supposed to happen. We are going to trigger the called Frozen World, which is when you have to defeat a boss called Z57, but we have activated it in reverse. Normally you should be getting Frozen Artaria, but we're getting into Frozen Barenia, and yeah, this is something that is just not supposed to happen. So we're gonna use this opportunity to defeat some bosses here. Oh no. And we're gonna try to use screw attack and skew. We actually don't have a lot of HP, so this fight is very... No, oh no. I'm dead. I was hoping I could dodge that, but the robot moved a little bit. Not ideal. Anyway, I'll try to be more careful. I don't have a lot of HP due to the rounding we've done. Oh no, I could have grabbed another... No, I can't believe I lost that. Oh my god, this boss is making it really hard. Okay, I don't want to risk it any further. I'm just gonna do it with missiles. Okay, that was such a risky fight. I'm very glad we're through that. It was definitely not ideal. So, as a result of the running we do, we go through very little E-tanks. There's actually one E-tank that I went through that I skipped. I might actually reconsider that in future runs, especially in the showcase. I might want to take an extra tank or two just to make this fight a little easier. This fight is doable with one E-tank, but it's also extremely dangerous. I should have probably taken one more E-tank just for safety for the rest of the run, but it's okay. I'll revise that. I'll revise that another time. What's up, Gaily Stars Gaming? Uzo Speed. Yeah, that death is definitely not cool. Alright, so we're gonna do Frozen Artaria, but not the Frozen Artaria you would expect. I didn't mean to grab that, but it's okay. So we don't have a lot of the abilities you're expected to have at this point. So we're gonna have to improvise a little bit. Alright, we're through. We have done a very nice floor clip to be able to get here. This is absolutely intended, I tell you. This is normal gameplay. If I take a hit, I'm dead. So I can't take a hit, obviously. Alright, that was a rather quick fight. We'll take that. Alright. So Red Joseph is done. Now we're gonna make our way through Frozen Artaria as quickly as we can. Oh, I almost got the full speed keep. Dang it. I made a mistake. I actually got the jump. That is really hard to do. There is a world where you can do that speed keep pretty fast, but I messed up. Oh yeah, wait, I have screw attack. I can do this. So I want to be careful with my movement here because I don't want to lose skew. I still want to use skew in a few places. Oh no. Alright. It's not the movement I wanted to get, but it's alright. So we are done with Frozen Artaria. I think I still have the Bomohi skew state. It's okay if I lose it right now, but I want to keep it for a few reasons. I'm gonna need to get it again later, and because I want to show a pretty cool little shortcut. We're gonna do a clip called the neutral jump clip. We've done it before after, well, just before the red shows, we did a neutral jump clip. I think we might still do another one in the run. And we're gonna use it to clip a door that doesn't really kill us out of bounds. There are some structures in the game that don't kill us out of bounds. This is gonna be one of those. Oh no, come on, quick. Alright, and we're through. And with this, we skip the eye door that leads into Z57. Might not be the smartest of ideas, but I just wanted to show that. And now we're going to charge up a speed booster thanks to this Q state and end this fight really fast. And that's it. Bye Z57. Oh no, that is such betrayal. Alright. Oh no, I'm going the wrong way. I took the wrong route. It's okay. I was supposed to take the lower route, but it's alright. We can make it there from here too. So, we're going to take the purple TP again. We are now going to do something called the Ferenia backdoor. You're not supposed to be able to get to the main part of the Ferenia, which is one of the areas in the game. You're not supposed to be able to make it to the main area, or the main part of that area, from where we're gonna go. That's why it's called the back door. So yeah, we're gonna do that. So satisfying watching Z57 go down in one hit. It is. It can be an annoying fight. And if you have skew, it's not that the fight ain't annoying anymore, but it's gonna be a lot easier. So we're gonna go to Ferenia. In most other categories, you would have at least visited this area before, but with all the skips we've done and the implications of the routing, well, we haven't. So yeah, we're coming here now. We have done that big detour in Frozen Artaria, so we don't have to do that anymore. There's a lot of bosses down up to this point. Now we're gonna fight Quiet Robe bot. This is the place where you get that long cutscene with Quiet Robe. Everybody loves Quiet Robe, that cool Chozo guy. And yeah, we're gonna do that boss fight, and then we'll do the back door. There are two ways to do the back door. I'm gonna do one of them, the supposedly fast one. Oh, I lost bombing skew here. That's okay. I can get it again later. I don't even need skew for this fight. I just need to screw attack and that's it. Done. Alright, so we're gonna need to set up the bomb of his skew again. Let's do that. Ah, damn, I'm gonna have to do it again. Alright, we got it. So, this is a pretty fun... this is gonna be a pretty fun trick. Look at where we are. This is like the sewers. This is where you would find the enemy of this area. But no. It's us. So we have to do these 2 clips to be able to access the enemy zone. Or the main part of Frenia from where we came in. And I think I should be able to do that. Am I lined up? I think I am. Okay, let's do that. Alright, we're through. We're through. That's huge. That is indeed huge. We're through this section. And yeah. We used a lot of tech there. We used the map buffer to introduce lag. So what have we just done? We've done a series of clips through a lot of tiles. I think the clips is like 5 to 6 tiles. Which it's only possible thanks to the map buffer, which is when we go into the global map into an area that's not the one we're in, the game has to load all these maps, and when we back off, the game lags because it's presumably unloading all that stuff. And that lag allows us to skip frames, which in turn allows to skip many of to bypass a lot of checks that would have probably killed Samus. Oh, not ideal. I didn't even get the 2-core. Alright, that is another boss fight down. That's done. With the time it took me to get those map buffers, I'm not sure if this was worth. I'll have to practice that. So, we have done SQ, and we have cheesed our way to get in here many times. We're now going to do another skip called Storm Skip. Well, we do have Storm, but we are going to acquire Wave Beam. Oh, I lost Skew, of course. I'm going to have to set it up again. I can do it here. Oh. So, we are going to acquire Wave Beam early on. We're not supposed to be able to get to Wide Beam right now. Far from that. We're going to use another clip to access that area in reverse. We're going to use a magnet here to set up quickly. Setups can have a lot, can have variable times. Some setups are fast, some are slow. The magnet for a long time was one of the ways that we could have fast setups. Yeah. And now we're going to do a trick called the gravity skip. Like, you're not supposed to be able to go through this section with Varia Suit. You should need to have gravity suit for this section. But we can bypass the need for that with the skew state by getting a speed booster right here. So we destroy this blob here. We spark up this unclimbable water section. And we no longer need to have gravity suit. In fact, I don't think we ever go back to get gravity suit. And now that we have screw attack, even the central units are no match for us. There's no longer any need to match, we just hit screw attack into the core and that's it. Like this, what we're doing is unthinkable in no major glitch categories and glitchless because like we don't have even half of the abilities that we would be expected to have by this point, and we're getting Wave Beam. When we do get Wave Beam, we automatically acquire Plasma Beam. So it's basically a 2-in-1. we are able to open plasma doors, and we get all the benefits from plasma beam in terms of hurting enemies, which is really nice. So we don't have to go to Ilan to get plasma beam anymore. We already have it. And that is going to help us to streamline even further the rest of the route. So now that we have wave beam, we're gonna go do a little detour for space jump. Wait, I don't have space jump yet. Do I still have skew? I do. I'm gonna do a little shortcut here. No, actually I'm not, because I need to be at the top. Right, wait. But yeah, right, I'm gonna do this fight here. You're not supposed to have wave beam for this fight. But in this run, you're not supposed to do a lot of things, and we're still doing, right? Oh, the game is scamming me. Storm missiles sometimes don't do what they're supposed to do. It's very unfortunate. You know what? I'm thinking maybe taking the low route from the wave beam arena was actually better. Might be more streamlined, but it's okay. Alright, so from this point onward, I don't need to have Bombo here right now. I think we might actually not need Bomba his Q anymore for the rest of the run. So we're probably good. I probably wouldn't have to do that setup again. But we do have space jump, which is nice. Because we have space jump, the rest of the game is going to be pretty comfortable to steer around and to move around. So, Barania, right? This is the second time we've been in Barania, and we have a lot of abilities that we're not really supposed to have. It is possible that we might be able to do some interesting clips around here, but there's no real reason to do them. It's probably just faster to do regular movement, which is what we're doing here. So, we're not going to skip Drog because this is all bosses. We're going to fight Dragaiga right now, and we're going to fight it with a very particular set of abilities. We have a Wave Beam. You're not supposed to even have Plasma Beam for this fight, let alone Wave Beam. So, this results in a very, very weird fight. Oh no, I messed up. No, not like this. Oh well, it's okay. Well, it's done. I could have actually ended this in one cycle, but I unfortunately messed up and didn't take the parry, and that's okay. So that's the boss fight done. It's actually pretty satisfying to fight Drug with Wave Beam because it's a unique thing about this route. You don't get to do that in other routes. In most other routes, you don't even get to fight this boss. We just skip it. But here we fight it in style with Wave Beam, Space Jump, Storm Missiles. Not that Storm Missiles would be very useful there. I don't think it is. But Wave Beam just makes the fight go really fast. if you fight this boss with, you know, standard abilities, your main weapon would have been missiles. Maybe charge beams a little bit, but 90% missile damage. Now, we technically have Plasma Beam and we could access Gavrin in many ways, but we're gonna go straight to the first boss fight, which is a little bot fight that is right around the corner. Oh, I missed the speed booster, but that's okay, we have Wave Beam. That is really fast with Wave Beam. Once again, you're not supposed to have Wave Beam for this fight, so it just goes really, really fast. So, as I said, we don't have Plasma Beam, but we can open Plasma Doors. Well, we do technically have Plasma Beam because we get it from Wave Beam. And we do this section with Space Jump, so we can just skip that water section and go straight to the top. And now we're gonna go straight to a fight with the Ice Amy. Oh, what am I doing? I have Screw Attack. Why is Demi not here in the Amy zone? Because you're supposed to watch a cutscene in Alan. Oh, I'm not supposed to dash melee here, just bad habits from other CU fights. There's a cutscene that you watch when coming back from Alan where the Emmys are activated, but we haven't watched that. But fun fact, the Emmy spawns once we get here. The Emmys each have different rules and interactions and mechanics. The Emmy in Artaria, if you don't trigger its introduction cutscene, it won't spawn for the central unit fight. But the other Emmys, even if you skip their initial cutscenes, they still spawn. So it's like each Emmy has its own rules. It's very odd. We just have to learn and adapt. That's it. So Ice Missile done. So far Gavrin has been pretty streamlined. We just come in and just fight the bosses immediately. There's hardly any detours. Now we're gonna go for Elan. It is the place where we release the X. It's a very interesting part of this. It's a very lore-heavy part of this game. We're gonna do something called the Ledge Warp, where we are going to warp back to the ledge and gain access to this section, which would require a little detour otherwise. And now we don't have to do that detour, we just go straight to Elan. Elan is actually, so the next section, Elan, is actually my favorite part of this run, because it is so silly when you have all these abilities. Because normally you have to do a series of detours, and you know it's a maze-like area. But when we have all these abilities, this area is so streamlined and so fast, it's actually fun to see. I hope you enjoy this. There are no words for this, you just have to watch. That's it. That is such a fast boss fight. Because we're entering this arena in reverse, we skip the cutscene and we open the fight with a Shine Spark. We just instantly phase that enemy. And now we're gonna do something called, oh yeah, I've already done that. The Ledge Warp. We're gonna do it again. So we cannot leave, that door up there is closed until we enter a checkpoint down here. And now we can leave. That's it. And that's Elan. Ladies and gentlemen, it's done. I actually forgot to split that. It's okay. Alright. So, Elan is nothing more than like a minute. It's a minute something. It is. That's why it's such a satisfying section to do in this category. It's just so fast. That's all we need from Elan. We just need the boss fight and back out. Because thankfully for us, we have Plasma Beam included with Wave Beam. And this is the cutscene that spawns the Emmys. But we've already defeated the Emmys, so we'll never ever have to deal with enemy spawns in the enemy zones. So, yeah. Coincidence? I think not. We're gonna do a nice little speed keep. Oh. We're gonna do yet another lead warp. We need to activate another boss fight coming up. However, this boss fight is activated when we get to a certain part of this area. We're just working on that right now. We're gonna use a series of water bomb jumps to be able to move around in Morph Ball. So the way the ledge warp works is we have to be in Morph Ball and we have to turn into Morph Ball as we're about to land on a ledge. Being in that room spawns the next boss. And so we just warp back here and we're gonna go for that fight right now. This is a dev intended thing. Shine sparking this boss on the wall is not a glitch. It's intended. And it just goes so fast when you have ice missiles and wave beam. At this point, you're supposed to have plasma and super missiles. We have wave and ice, and we just have almost the entire loadout, really. Alright, so we're gonna go for another boss called Golzuna. We have released the X, so Golzuna is now... the criteria to spawn Golzuna is now met, so we can go for that. We don't have any real... like, having more abilities doesn't really make this fight any easier than it is for other categories. The fact that we have Wave Beam is nice as a backup if I somehow fail. Well, I just did, so I guess I will. Actually, Storm Missiles is nice to have. You're not supposed to have Storm Missiles or Wave Beam for this fight, but Storm Missiles allows you to kill the core pretty fast. So, we have cross bombs. We have most of the bosses down at this point. So, we're gonna go to Hanubia and get into the late game. All we have left to do now is to fight one more chosen, well, two more chosen warriors, Ravenbeak and Ravenbeak X. So we're almost done. I think we're within like the last 6-ish minutes of the run, if I'm not mistaken. This is both a derust run and a showcase run. I haven't run this category in a while, so I'm a little rusty in a few things. But it's actually going pretty well. No complaints there. So we don't have to do all those crazy clips that unrestricted any percent does because we have Wave Beam. We can just go through the main door, which is a lot easier. It just is a lot simpler. So now that we have all abilities in all the intended places, we're just doing these fights as normal pretty much. But we can take damage. Because we have Vario Suit and not Gravity Suit, we're not benefiting from that big damage reduction that the Gravity Suit gives you. And this is most noticeable against specific enemies, mostly bosses. Bosses do a lot of damage. Every hit from the bosses is like more than an E-tank of damage. There are some exceptions, but these bosses are extremely dangerous, especially in their X forms. Wait, I messed up the power bomb split. Okay. Yeah, these bosses do a lot of damage, and I'm not entirely sure if this one can one-shot me. I think it can. If not, it's going to be very close to that. We don't want to take any chances. Alright, I'm going to try to recover my power bombs. I got no RNG there, unfortunately, so I'm not going to be able to use a power bomb to get a shortcut here. Alright. Well, there's not a ton going on for all the unrestricted stuff we did before. Right now, we don't really have any more unrestricted tech. It's just raw gameplay, like the other categories. Alright, we got the 2-phase on this guy, which is pretty hard to get. That was a pretty fast fight too. This game in Zero Mission made Power Bomb a huge deal as an upgrade, says Eric. Yo, Power Bombs in this game are very flashy. And I would disagree, because in this game, Power Bombs actually are not that powerful. I mean, maybe in the older games it's the same. I couldn't say, but Power Bombs, like, they look really flashy and really powerful, but there are blocks intended to be destroyed by Power Bombs like the other games. You can one-shot every enemy, but not most boss fights. Some boss fights you can one-shot with Power Bombs, but in casual playthroughs you wouldn't know, right? Because it's an endgame item. But all of the bosses in the endgame take negligible damage from the Power Bombs, so you still have to use your beams and missiles. If you want to talk about how flashy they are flashy. Very much so. Too flashy, maybe. In a showcase run, I might have to warn about strobing lights from the Powerbomb graphical effects. Anyway, we're gonna fight one more boss fight. This is Ravenbeak the Dead. It's a fairly fast boss fight, if you know the ins and outs. We're just gonna go all out on damage. I'm gonna do my best to weave missiles in between the beams. And we don't have that much HP, so really gonna have to destroy that. Oh no, I didn't actually want to take the berry. Ravenbeak's almost dead. I'm actually losing time. It's okay, he's already dead. Oh my wamo. But it's okay. I didn't have to take the berry, but we did, so it just makes the fight a bit more exciting. Taking parries in this game is actually not a good idea. Usually parries reduce the damage you deal, but the parry in Ravenbeak actually doesn't. This one in particular doesn't. So you get to deal your full damage and more because your missile cooldown rate is lower, so you fire more missiles. Anyway, final boss fight, and then we do the escape. We just have to charge up that beam, and now we're gonna start doing some damage. You don't have to deal damage for the entire fight, you just have to do a bit of damage, and you have to be dealing damage near the end of the encounter, because while you're dealing damage, Ravenbeak X moves very slowly, so we want him to be fast. I'm gonna try to do a silly speed keep, which is extremely difficult, and I didn't get it, but it would have been really cool if I got it. I will definitely attempt to do that in a showcase. It's really cool if I got it, but it's extremely hard to get. Alright, no more bosses. We only have to escape. before ZDR goes to well, wherever all the other planets and stations from Metroid games have gone. Into space, into the void. Another cool speed keep we're gonna do. This one, I think I nailed it. Nice. We got it. I like to call that the slide spark, but the community calls that the arc spark because I'm the one that came up with that. I'm not sure what to call it, but I liked it. And it's done. 1:10:23. I think that's a fairly good time for the Rust run. There's actually a lot of time saved that I can get in this category. But a 1:10 is a pretty decent time. I didn't even get first try Warp Ball. 6 minutes second. Was it something like fourth try or something like that? I don't recall exactly, but I think it was something like third or fourth try. It wasn't too bad. I could definitely save a bit of time with better Warp Ball. I mean, performance is whatever. I was basically like the rusting this category and also doing a few sections that I haven't done before. The route is a little different than I last did, than the last route I ran in this category. So it's gonna take some practice to get a little better, but like a 1:10 is actually a fairly decent time, all things considered. It's plenty good for a showcase, really. So there is the matter of RNG at early charge skip and Warp Ball, but it's never going to be anything too extreme. I am fairly confident in my parry timings. I have roughly like a 50%. I expect that like extremely bad would be like doing 5 or 6 attempts or more. And at Morph Ball, it's a 1 in 3. I have the setups down very consistently. It's a 1 in 3 to get the correct spawn. So I wouldn't expect to get more than like 5 or 6 warp attempts. I could get more for both of those tricks, yes, but I would need to have extremely bad RNG to get both situations, to get that situation on both tricks. Like extremely bad RNG on charge, early charge, and extremely bad RNG on Warp Ball. So I think a good estimate for this run is probably the same thing that I did for Any UR. Probably like 15 minutes over my PB. This isn't my PB. I've had a 107 or 106, which I don't think I posted anywhere. I just like did it off stream, but then Noya got this 105 and I went to do another category in the meantime. I never actually uploaded that. Yeah, if this category is somehow approved, I will of course do a lot of practice. I should be able to have a more streamlined and slightly more optimized run. I'm pretty sure times for this category can reach something as low as a 103, I'm not sure, because Noya's route was already pretty darn optimized. Maybe a 104, borderline 103 should be feasible, but really hard to. So I still, despite the Emi Warp time losses, I still have plenty of time to save throughout this route. But anyway, GG's guys, GG's Prince, GG's Metroid, GG's Melon. Wow, match summer best, amazing. You know what, sometimes I get comments like that in my world record runs, and I feel somewhat embarrassed reading that, because, I mean, sometimes I am happy that my run is close to the sum of best, but in my heart I know that there is so much time potential that is not in the sum of best. And also, yeah, you know, on one hand I guess I can be happy about my PBs and records, but on the other, like, yeah, I know this is too far from perfection to just go like, yeah, amazing, but you know, this inner speedrunner mindset is just like, doesn't let you be happy. Sometimes it's just like that. This inner speedrunner mind is like, you're not, that was a good run, but your sum of best is still far. That was not good enough. Never good enough, dude. Relationship with us, yeah, it is definitely tough. It is definitely tough. I still have a lot of grind to do in this category if I so choose. I would like to beat Noya's time, especially now that there's the early charge. I never actually got to optimize my own run too much, but from a 107 to a 105, there's still quite a bit of time save. I would need to like do. I would probably need to do some segmented practice to get used to all the different parts of the run. Yo, what's up, Infinity? Sub relationships are abusive. Yeah, the sub abuses my mindset. That's how it goes. I'm guessing Noya is gonna do a tour with the new skip. Yeah. So this run is with the new skip, but because it was also partly a derust run, yeah, I'm still a bit rusty on some parts of it. A lot of the old bosses, unrestricted, exclusive stuff could have been better, but you know, again, 1010 is still a pretty good run for a live showcase, honestly. Just like that 46 for any UR. I might come for any UR world record before you run away, take it again. I'm not gonna run that category until somebody beats it, so you go for it, Delusional. One day I'll if that happens, one day I'll come back to do it with early charge and get a triple reset point at early charge, Emi Warp, and RBX. But right now I don't want to do that. Oh my god. Yeah, any percent UR was disgusting before. It is absolutely horrible right now. It's absolutely horrible to grind at a high level. It was hard enough grinding through that sub 40 in 2 reset points. Grinding through like a sub 39 or even a sub 38 is probably possible. With early charge, it's gonna be absolutely mental. Like that, if there's such a thing as an unforgivable route, any UR is that. And probably 100% UR is gonna be that too, because you're gonna have the same number of RNG points. So yeah. Oh my god. What's up, Melon? What about Legacy? That looks so hard. Oh yeah, so many categories to grind and so little time to grind all of them. I definitely want to set a time for any percent Legacy. Maybe not go too serious about it because it's also disgusting. Like, the RNG points are not as bad. It's only RBX, I think. But the fact that you lose so much time from having to redo RBX and the lag you get from RBX also makes wall clips a lot harder to do. Is a very big demotivating factor for any Legacy, seriously. Aber, of course, I would like to set a good time. Any percent unrestricted, I'm not touching that until somebody beats me because that category is disgusting. 100% unrestricted is fine where it is. Same deal as any percent UR. I'm not running that until someone beats that time. I also don't really feel like routing that anymore for the time being. 80% no major glitches. I could run that. I haven't done NMG in a while. Glitchless, I'm too burned out of glitchless. But yeah. Also, back to the run at hand. We have defeated 30 bosses. That's what is supposed to happen. We have defeated 30 bosses with lots of cool unrestricted tech. This is faster. This is still faster than the fastest non-unrestricted times in the old bosses categories. And just for reference, let me see what is like world record for these categories in the leaderboards. So unrestricted is a 105.18 by Noyazaki, but he's not using the early charge route in this run. My personal best was a 107-ish, I think. I wasn't too far from Noya, but his run's more optimized. He grinded more. I didn't grind as much. There's a 114 no major glitches, 114.44 by Noya. And glitchless, there is a 118, but I want to believe there's a lower time. Maybe B-Dog had a lower time or something. It's on leaderboards, I don't know for sure. There's always that matter to consider. Maybe B-Dog has a lower time, but we don't know. He's that good at the game, though. But yeah, this is still, like, with all the mistakes I made, this is still a few minutes faster than the other non-unrestricted routes. That's what I wanted to say. So yeah, that's it for all bosses unrestricted. That was a fairly nice run. If I do this in a live showcase, I'll definitely be happy with the 110 because of course consider the RNG stuff. And yeah, that's it for the run. GG's. Alright, so we got the 30 bosses, we got the 2 runs. I will have to make highlights of these for the submissions and stuff. Probably do that tomorrow, it's getting late. I still have tomorrow to submit, so it's okay. Why did he delete his runs? I don't know. You'd have to ask him. I mean, he has deleted his runs on many occasions. The first that I remember is he didn't agree with the split for turbo runs. Not the split, but the ruling changes where turbo became allowed. It was actually kind of painful to watch the first couple days of that happening because B-Dog had just set a really nice time in any percent NMG. I think at the time he had at the time that the turbo rulings went into effect, he had like a 116, which was an incredibly good run at the time. And basically his competition was like low 18, high 17. It was myself, Sam Boner, and Maruf at the time. We were a bit far from that 116 time. And when the ruling for turbo got approved, somebody took that 20 hertz and beat B-Dog's time. It was very unfair to allow turbo and non-turbo runs into the same, like to funnel turbo and non-turbo runs into the same categories. So at first B-Dog probably took down his runs because he didn't agree with that ruling, and that made perfect sense. It was actually stupid that the moderators did that, like legitimately stupid. As for the recent reasonings, I think he's more in line with the turbo rulings these days. He's more like agreeable. I mean, because it's better. They reduced the caps. They put some restrictions, made it more even or more fair with non-turbo runners. But he might have had other issues with the community that I'm not aware of. I don't know. Or that I may be aware of, but I'm not sure. I didn't exactly ask him. So anyway, that doesn't belong. That doesn't belong here. That is something that maybe you should ask him and not me. I don't know. So I think that's what I'm gonna do for today. I think that's all for today, rather. So Pixels for People, October 5th. I'm gonna run at 1 p.m. my time, which is 2 p.m. Central European time, or if I'm not mistaken, 8 a.m. Eastern time. I have to double check like the daylight savings because I know NA gets their daylight saving changes earlier than we do in Europe. Let me actually get a time converter for this. To ET. Good luck showcase. Thank you, Prince. I was Big Merc. let me get you. Hold on. Let me get you. I'm gonna do the time conversions in the World Time Buddy thing because that's just cool. So 1 p.m. my time will indeed be 8 a.m. in Eastern Daylight Time, or Eastern Daylight Saving, whatever. So it's like a 5-hour difference. 2 p.m. is perfect. Nice. That's for Central European time. If that applies to you, that's a pretty chill time to watch. 8 a.m. is a little early for a weekend, but I mean, it's not the worst time. It could have been like 3 a.m. and it's not. So October 5th, 1 p.m. Western European time, 2 p.m. Central European time, and also 8 a.m. for Eastern time. And I guess that would make it also 5 a.m. for Pacific time, if anyone here is at that time zone. So I'm going to be showcasing any percent unrestricted at Pixels for People. I believe the run will be streamed only on Twitch through Carter Freak's channel. It has been in the past. I don't know if they have made a new channel for it. I don't think so. So I'm going to leave you guys the link here. Also on YouTube, if anyone's curious. That is probably going to be where they will stream the event. So do make sure to check it out on Saturday. We're gonna do that 80% unrestricted. I'm really just hoping that MU Warp and RBX cooperate. I would love to do the early charge route, but I don't think I want to handle 3 RNG points in a live showcase, especially when the trick has just been found. I don't think I have the consistency needed for a live showcase on that, so I'm just gonna skip that. But I did it for the old boss's run because, yeah, it has less RNG to deal with. So adding a bit more should be alright. Should be acceptable. Alright, chat. Twitchers and YouTubers, thank you all so much for sitting through and watching some runs. Hope you enjoyed the showcases. I will probably do some more practice tomorrow, but I also have to set up. I have to do the setup that they request for this thing, so maybe I'll do some off-stream practice instead. We'll see. We'll see. And yeah. Have a good night, everyone. Have a good rest of your day, and see you guys at the event next Saturday. Bye.